is starting again.
You're listening to the Radcast. If it's radical, we cover it. Here's your host, Ryan Alford.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the latest edition of the Radcast. Coming live, well, pre-recorded for you wherever you are, but live for us here at the Think Billions event. I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. David Caldwell. David, brother, what's up?
Good to be here.
Hey, man.
Good to be here and good to be on the show. So
I know.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. If you're watching the video, you need to watch the video to really get the impression. A lot of our audience is on audio, but you got to watch the video to see some of the landscape and background here, to get a feel.
Just imagine paradise in a desert with mountains behind us, a lot of pools, a lot of lavish living, but like you said, down to earth people. So that's good.
David is with the NFL Alumni Association and all about maximizing potential, which is really what this event's about. And I'm excited to talk to David about what he's been up to and some big ideas, actually. When I start hearing anybody moves, having had Mr. Randolph, one of the co-founders of Netflix, on the show, when anyone mentions they've got an idea around this of that of Netflix, my ears perk up a little bit. So I can't wait to get to that, David. But let's talk, I see you kind of look like an NFL player already. I'm sitting here, there's rarely where anybody I'm going, damn, ours might be bigger than mine.
Not at all. Not that I made my transition to be mostly plant-based. So I'm a little slim now.
Yeah, no, man, you look good. But
appreciate it.
Let's give everybody a little background on you, David, and leading up to today.
100%. So from Jersey, I'm a Jersey boy. Grew up, wanting to go to the NBA, NFL, MLB. Thought I'd be the first person to, do all three. Just was always, very confident just based on my upbringing. I had a huge support system, my parents and my older brother. And went to Montclair High School, did a year of prep school at Lawrenceville, found myself at the College of William & Mary in Colonial Williamsburg. Don't know how I ended up there. But
funny how life does that to us, right?
It's funny. I went there on a 7th grade trip, and I was like, hell, who the hell would go to Colonial Williamsburg for college? Like, that has to be the worst place to go. And 5 years later, I guess, I ended up over there. But it was a tremendous experience. That followed up with getting the opportunity to play for the Colts, in Indianapolis. Got to play with, two of my idols, Bob Sanders and Antoine Bethea. Tremendous experience. Played a few years in the NFL. Then went up to Canada. Played for the Hamilton Ticats. I loved living up in Canada. The money was a little bit different. The money was a little bit different.
Scenery was beautiful, but that paycheck was a little less.
Right. So, I played up there for a couple years. Then always had in my head that, I was always going to use football. I always say to myself and the young kids, like, use football, don't let it use you. And I always just wanted to use it as a platform to dive into whatever, was next for me as I transitioned out. I got into the medical device field. Did that for a little bit with Stryker and Arthrex, then started working directly with surgery centers, figuring out the ins and outs of the business. After that, my mentor and I, we decided to go out on our own. We started doing business development consulting, which just means helping companies make more money, increasing their profit margins. And now I'm doing that. And while doing that, I should say, actually before that, came up with a concept or a brand. I'm not sure if it was a lifestyle. It's taken many transitions itself, called Out Here Gettin It, OG. That's the name of it. It's an acronym for Out Here Gettin It. A play on words with, OG and everything like that.
I like it as a marketer.
You know what I mean?
You
feel it.
I'm feeling it.
So that was pretty much always about just figuring out how to maximize your potential in whatever you're doing. Just taking things to the next level. That's just been something for me that has been the most rewarding for me, doing that for myself, but then also being able to have people go all in with themselves and really buy into the brand, the culture, the lifestyle, and really just use it to take their life to the next level. So
I love it, man. And I remember, I'm going to go back a minute for the Colts days. I remember like a three-headed monster when they had I think it was you. I remember that Bob Sanders. You guys had the three-headed monster at running back, didn't you? Like, it was like three guys always sharing the rock.
Yeah,
you know?
it was well All right, so you're probably thinking, I know who you're thinking about. You're thinking of like Marshall Faulk, Adide.
Well, I remember them, but I remember the Bob Sanders name, and I remember your name from you played.
See,
I mean,
no. I played, but we were mostly, it's funny, when you look at a guy like Bob, because you probably saw him running the ball so much because he got so many damn interceptions and turnovers, and even with Antoine Bethea, but they were on defense playing safety. So when I went there, it was, I'm playing with my idols, so I got the opportunity to learn under them, and I didn't stay there as long as I would have liked. Everybody's story, injuries and everything else, but to have that experience.
It's a brutal
amazing.
game. I mean, that's,
my kids will never play. My kids will never play.
Yes. How is it? We were talking pre-episode. I think it's fascinating. People find interesting the dynamic of the players, association, the NFL Players Association versus the Alumni Association.
Yeah.
Talk to. I think people would just find some interest of because that's how popular the NFL is.
Yeah.
But as popular as the NFL is, I'm not, and I think it's probably by design. The game's what's important, but the business and the politics, the dynamics, I know there's a lot there. I mean, so break down, kind of the differences there and how you guys help, past players.
Right. So it's a tough sport. As you said, it's brutal and it's ultra competitive. And that's what makes it so amazing. But the things that make it so amazing are what take a toll on the actual players. One, with it being so competitive, but two, and brutal, but two, just based on the fact that a lot of the contracts aren't guaranteed. So it's a week to week. People think that when you sign your contract, like I remember my friends used to look up my contract and it said whatever it said. And I'm like, you have to understand, I have to play that week. It's a week in, week out thing. And if you're not playing, you can get in a lot of trouble, and you miss one game and you could be out of there just because it's that competitive. The only reason I got the chance to play was because guys got injured, got an opportunity, you make the most of it. So then when I got injured, same thing, it's a rotating cycle. And most of the time the guy that's fifth string, just as good as the first string guy.
Yep.
But to your point, being that the sport is that, you need former players, you need older players, veterans to really develop a structure when it comes to the CBA and providing a different support system that allows the players to transition when their playing days are over. And that's what we do on the NFL alumni side. It's a completely separate organization, company than the NFL. So the NFL Players Association, the NFLPA, is directly tied into the NFL. That's current players as well as former players, which obviously you're going to focus a little bit more on the current players. That's your business. You got to focus on the current players.
That's where the checks are coming today, right?
Exactly. So the alumni, it's almost looking at it like if you're 40 years old, I'm a little bit under 40 right now. The things I care about and would advise players in right now is a lot different than when I'm 22, 23. I'm just like, give me my check so I can go to the club. Give me my check so I can just enjoy life. And all that other stuff, the CBA stuff, you guys kind of handle that on your end. I just need to make sure that I'm getting paid this week. So it's different. So you need a lot of those former guys to really just knock some sense in the younger guys and establish that foundation. So that's what we do.
It's interesting you talk about that, the build-up. I mean, I think people know that players don't play long, but I don't think they realize how short that lifespan really, the average lifespan of the NFL player is, and how, those checks are there and they're higher than most people make, but you got to be thinking about life after ball. I talked a lot about that with Sean Merriman, who I had on the show about a month or two ago, and he's fascinating to talk about that same dynamic. So, but I will say this, and I'll say this about you, I said this about Sean, you definitely have a certain business acumen and a certain, air about you that just feels universally set up for business. Where does that come from? There's just professionalism with you. It's
my parents. My parents. My parents. My dad, he was the youngest of 9 kids. His brothers and sisters grew up on a sharecropping farm. He was the only one that grew up in South Carolina, your home. And he was the only one that grew up in New York. He was born in New York, the only one. And he was the first to go to college. My mom was an educator. My grandfather, he was like one of the first black principals, also played professional baseball. So it was always, for me, just competing in both ends. I never saw sports as just football. I always saw school as sport as well. So when I was trying to compete in sports, I needed to make sure that I was the number one on this test. I'm looking at the rest of the class, making sure that I'm competing just as well. And I always understood the power of just relationships. And I don't know where I got that from. I like to just say I just had my upbringing, my parents, just different things
Nature
that
or
they instilled
nurture?
in me. Yeah,
A little bit of both.
Right, and you just I don't know, you smile, you listen, you figure out different ways to make people feel good about themselves, and lead them in a more positive direction. That's kind of what I've always been trying to do.
Oh, I sense that about you, and I also sense you're living the playbook, the Ryan Alford playbook, which is leveraging where you know that everything is temporary. So how do you leverage what you're at now for the next opportunity, right?
And people don't.
A lot of people don't get that.
People don't get it, and players don't get it, and that's the most disappointing thing. For me, I didn't go to one of these football factories. I didn't even have a scholarship out of high school. I had to go to prep school for a year, and then William Mary was like the first team that offered me a scholarship. I'm like, I'm going. But what it did was it gave me a lot of different skills that I developed along the way. And players don't realize that the exact skills that they're developing through playing sports, like it's not how to backpedal, it's not how to sack a quarterback, it's having time management, discipline, overcoming adversity, all these different things that employers are looking for because they bring tremendous value. Those are developed through playing high-level sports. But we don't necessarily realize how to kind of mold that or to change our perspective and to see things that way. So you see a lot of former players, a lot of my former teammates, they don't feel comfortable having conversations like this unless it's about football. But that's just because of a lack of confidence, to where my parents always had me up doing public speaking. My mom was a second grade school teacher, so I was in middle school and high school. That she made me do whether it's, we used to have different assemblies. She'd have me speaking at the assemblies and doing all that stuff. So yeah.
She did you a favor, man, because you got, I call it the PIQ, it's professional IQ. You have it. You got a lot of
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. David, transitioning a little bit, and bringing it back to being where we're at, to think billions, thinking bigger, thinking broader, going bigger. I know you've got plans, and nothing to sneeze at being with the NFL Alumni Association, but I know you're thinking bigger, you're playing bigger. So what's on the horizons?
I want to influence as many people as I can that they have the ability to maximize their potential and the want and desire. If I can figure out a way to do that, well, let me not say if. That's what I'm going to figure out a way to do it. I'm going to figure out a way to do that, and that's what we're doing right now. Because to me, that's the biggest impact that we can have. Figuring out, and a lot of that impact is done by doing it yourself first. So people want to lead somebody that's not just talking about it, but they're actually being about it. Tell me what you did, show me what you do and what you did, not telling me what you think I should do. So I just want to embody it. I want to live it, and I want to make sure that when my days are done on this earth, that people understand that I squeezed every single drop out of life that I could.
I love it, man. Words to live by. Wise man, way beyond his years. So let's talk about this big plan. How much can we talk about?
We can talk about it. I want Netflix. I'm coming for you.
Yeah. The Netflix for business or
Right.
business content.
Right.
I think it's a little broader than that, but I want to hear about it. I think it's interesting. Sometimes when people have an idea or like a concept or like a category change, we like to fall in love with our own ideas and overcomplicate it. But when you bring it to the net, you immediately get it on people's levels of understanding when you say the Netflix of X, Y, and Z, which I like because it simplifies it for people. Okay, they get the mind frame. Okay, you're curating, because Netflix is about curating and discovery of content, of entertainment. So I immediately get there, but I know there's a spin on it with where you're going. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, 100%. So, what do? We go on Netflix. TV's almost dead now because we want to be able to choose exactly what category we want to watch, what we want to dive into. So for me, we're creating a platform that focuses on health and wellness, fitness, professional development, entrepreneurial adventures, whatever you want to call it, getting all of these different experts who may need a platform. They need a platform providing that platform so that when you go on to OG instead of Netflix, you can click on, oh, I need a yoga class for today. Okay, when you finish your yoga class, shoot, I need to tap into, learning a little bit more about sales. I need to tap into learning a little bit more about marketing. I want to do this cooking class, or I have my mom, who is a school teacher, be able to go on there and say like, oh, Mrs. Caldwell's class, she's gonna be reading a bedtime story. Being able to access all of these different things that are gonna enhance and elevate everybody's life. That's the platform that we want to create. And while I said that we could talk about it, it's somebody earlier said like, everybody has ideas, but not everybody takes action. So by me talking about it right now, I'm putting pressure on myself to make sure that I put the action behind all these words before somebody does it before me. But
you're doing more than that, David. We're putting this on the damn Radcast.
100%.
We got a 500,000 people out there. They're gonna hear it and hold you accountable.
Let them hear it. I welcome. You got to welcome competition.
No, I know.
And there's plenty.
It's a competition, but it's just putting it on the record.
Right, right. Putting it out there, and it's needed. People want a monthly subscription that they can go on and have access to everything that can take them to the next level of their life. Like, what would that number look like? Like, what would it be worth? Would it be worth paying $30, $40? What would that price be per month to where you can tap into experts that can really enhance your life? And, we'll bring it to another level, have different tiers where they can have a one-on-one with Ryan, and Ryan can tell them about marketing. It's going to cost you, though.
But that's going to be in the upper tier.
That's on the upper tier. Yeah, that's the platinum tier.
Oh, yeah. I've been listening to you talk. I'm going to give you a freebie. Skills on demand. Because that could be your subhead. There you go. Because that's really what it is, right?
You giving me that?
Skill, that's free. You got it. It could be the OG, skills on demand. Because that's really what it is. That's what you're saying.
That's exactly what it is.
You win on your time, on your dollar, when you want it, skills on demand.
And be clear, audience, he said I can have that, not y'all. So skills on demand. There we go.
See, now I'm putting the pressure on you to activate
now I got to move on it.
Cool, man. Hey, where can everybody keep up with you, David? What are your social platforms, and where can they follow along on your journey and everything that's going on?
All right, so at OHGI, so this is Instagram, at OHGI_Big Fish. We'll get into the Big Fish, another podcast, but at OHGI_Big Fish. And then January 1st, I'm putting the date out there. January 1st,
boom.
OG.com, OHGI.com. You'll be able to check us out. We got Howie P. Howie P. Hey, this is a legend. I want Howie P on record. This program it's already worth it. This is already worth it.
We've already worth it.
This is already worth it.
We've already drawn lines in the sand, Howie. We're getting things started.
Yeah.
Big ideas.
We got Howie's son.
We got
Howie's son on board with some stuff, and that. So we're just building. This is all about elevating.
Yeah, man.
Man.
Cool, man. Well, David, I really love your story. I love your energy, and man, I can't wait to just follow along and be connected, and I'll help you any way I can, and
that means a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you. Skills on demand. OG skills on demand.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Hey, guys, you know where to find us, theradcast.com. Search for Skills on Demand. You'll actually find all the episodes from today. Any keyword from today's episode, you'll find the highlight clips with my man David, and go follow his journey online. You know where to find me. I'm at Ryan Alford on all the platforms. Ryan.Alford on TikTok. I'm blowing up. We'll see you next time on the Radcast.